Hey, what's going on, AP peeps? We have APUSH review, U.S. Foreign Policy China edition for you today. So, a quick overview of the U.S. interactions with China throughout history. So, let's get going. We're going to start in 1899 with the Open Door Policy, which is also known as the Open Door Note. But let's start with a little bit of background first. In the mid to late 1800s, especially after the Opium Wars with Great Britain, Europe began to carve China into spheres of influence, or basically divide China up. In each country, there are five of them, would have exclusive trading rights with that section of China. So the U.S. is afraid that it could be shut out of trade with China, so they issue the Open Door Policy, which was a note by this guy, Secretary of State John Hay. And look at the mustache on that guy. That is really long. That is a sweet handlebar mustache there. And this urged Europeans to allow American businesses open access to China. China is a huge market, and that's why so many countries want to trade with China. And this demonstrates the U.S.'s desire for free trade in China. All right, let's flash forward a little while. We have China in World War II. Japan invades Manchuria in 1931, which is located in northeastern China, and the U.S. responds with something called the Stimson Doctrine. And all this says is the U.S. would not recognize any Japanese territory gained by force. So they basically tell Japan, you were bad for doing that. We're going to pretend like you didn't really do it and not recognize it. Okay, flash forward to the end of World War II. In 1949, we have the fall of China, and we also have the Korean War. Mao Zedong and the Communists in 1949 defeat the Nationalist Party led by Jian Jieshi. China becomes a communist nation. This is only about 32 years after Russia becomes the Soviet Union. So we have another country that turns communist, and this is very threatening to the United States, especially post World War II with the beginning of the Cold War. So what is the impact? This is a devastating blow to the Truman administration. Truman is blamed for China becoming communist. He is blamed for not giving enough support to the Nationalist Party. And there's this huge fear that other countries could also turn communist. So this helped domestically to contribute to the Red Scare in the United States. When you think of the Red Scare, you think of this guy, Joseph McCarthy from Wisconsin. You think of McCarthyism when he accused people of being communists, especially people that worked for the government. Also at this time we had the Korean War, and China sided with North Korea, who is communist. North Korea is communist, South Korea is not. So naturally the U.S. will side with South Korea. The Chinese will side with North Korea since they both are communist. All right, let's go to the Nixon administration in China. We're going to flash forward a few years to the 1970s. This is beginning of a period of détente, which is easing of Cold War tensions. And Nixon formally recognizes China, and he does so on February 21st, 1972. This is 10 years before my birthday. I was born on February 21st, 1982. So 10 years to the day later, I was born. And here is Nixon shaking hands with Mao Zedong. He travels to China, meets him. First time a sitting president travels to China, and this leads to a huge improvement with trade with China. We will see this in the 1980s and 1990s, especially the 2000s. So a lot of the trade with China can be traced back to this time. All right, that's a lot of stuff you need to know for foreign policy with China. If you have not, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. Also take about 15 seconds and put this on Twitter, Facebook, Vine, Pinterest, anything you can think of. Tweet about it if you know anybody who would benefit from this video. Please help me spread the word. If you have any questions, comments, ideas for videos, feel free to leave them in the section below. I appreciate you guys watching, and have a good day, guys.